for our viewers who are joining us. So we have kicked it off a little bit earlier than normal. I think we're about 2 minutes ahead of time, but that's no harm. It's no harm to have a plan, right? And get ahead of that plan if you can sometimes, because that can just help us to be prepared for anything. So what are we going to go through over this week? So this week we set out as being the planning week. This is the week where you do some groundwork and lay the foundation to ensure 2021 is your best year in business yet. So if you have any questions at any stage, you will see the chat button down the bottom. So if you scroll down the bottom, you'll see a chat button there. You just pick that up and make sure you've got it on all panelists and attendees. Okay, so make sure you've got all panelists and attendees marked on that chat button. Say hello, tell us where you're from while we're waiting to get started, because we're a little bit ahead of time. So hello, everybody. Tell us in the chat there who you are, what your name is, and where you're from. Go on, don't be shy. Don't be shy. Oh, you're all very shy tonight. No one's going to introduce themselves. Go on, say hello to us. Say hello in the chat. Just click on the chat button, not the Q&A. Just make sure it's the chat button and say hello. Okay, so it's now 6 o'clock and we're ready to kick off. So as we go through this, if you have any questions whatsoever, just put them in the chat and I will visit the chat every now and again just to check in and answer any questions that you guys have. Hello, Andrew. Good to see you. Hello, Sally. Good to see you. So all the way from Moorland City in NC. Good to see you here. And Andrew from London. Excellent. Well done. See, you're not all very shy. Not everyone's totally shy. So let's kick it off. So what we're going to go through today is the first part of a two-part series. So next Thursday, we're going to go to the second part. And what I'm going to work through with you is how to lay a foundation to prepare a proper foundation to make 2021 your best year in business yet. And a lot of people say to me, so Ronan, how do we do that? Why do we go through a planning process and why do we even need to plan? Like 2021 hit us and 2020 hit us and we had this COVID pandemic. How can you plan for a pandemic? And the short answer is you can't plan for it, but we need to make sure that if something hits us, because, there'll be something again, once we defeat this COVID enemy, there'll be something down the road again. In 2010, we had the financial crisis. In 2000, we had the dot-com bust. There's always something. And by having a plan, you start in the right place. And I'm going to share with you tonight is the tool that I and many photographers who work with me follow in their planning process for their business. So let me just share my screen and let's get started with it. Okay. So with any plan, the end result is what's the deliverable? What you actually want to achieve with the plan. What are you planning for? What are you hoping to achieve? And what I'm hoping with this process is that you follow this plan to make 2021 your best year in business yet. And there's some tools in here that will help you achieve that, I promise you. And there's tools in here that will help you fast track your success and to hopefully make up for 2020 into 21. So if you haven't already done so, there'll be tools in here that will help you fast track your success, bounce back into business, and recover some of the losses that we've all had this year. So there's a couple of principles as to why you need a business plan. So let me just tell you something, a little story about Kate and Tim. And Kate and Tim came over from America and they landed in Ireland, in Shannon Airport, in fact, which if you haven't been is a beautiful place. And they got out in the car and they traveled down into Cork and then they went into Kerry. And Kerry is known as the Kingdom. And the reason why it's got the nickname the Kingdom is that when God was creating Ireland, there was 31 counties built. And God looked and said, it's nearly perfect, but it's not quite yet perfect yet. And then God created Kerry. And that's why Kerry is called the Kingdom. So anyway, they make their way from Shannon Airport to the Kingdom, to Kerry. And Kerry is beautiful. It's a mecca of beauty. You have mountains, you have the sea, you have rivers, you have amazing people, you have amazing community, music, Ceol agus Craic, which is the Irish for great fun, banter and music, and of course, plenty of Guinness. But when you get there, and you go up into the mountains, and they're small, windy roads, and for Kate and Tim, who were across, they were traveling on a different side of the road. In fact, the road was like just one lane, but there had to be room for two traffic going by both directions. But anyway, they fall in love with Kerry and the kingdom. And even though they were due to fly home the next day at nighttime, as a nighttime flight, they decided that they were going to go on another tour because they loved the place so much. They're going to go up the mountains again. So they went up the mountains anyway, but they decided to go a little bit further. And of course, what happened? A couple of things happened. Now and again, the fog can roll in Kerry, right? The fog can come in across the mountains. So the fog start to roll in across. And so imagine that small, windy road with the fog rolling in. It's quite easy to fall over a cliff or drive over a cliff or indeed get lost. So they're there anyway. And then they realize, oh no, my phone, I have no reception. They'd no reception on their phone. There was no contact with the outside world up there. So they're traveling along anyway, and they get lost in the fog and haven't a clue what direction they're going. They just don't know where they're going. Having a clue, they get lost. And then they started to panic because they start looking at the time and say, oh, we have a 4-hour drive to the airport to fly home to Boston. We need to be getting out of here. We've got to make some movement. But they'd taken a wrong turn in the fog. They'd no map. They hadn't a clue where they were. Even if they had a map, the fog is in, the sky is full, they can't see the moon or the sun to find a direction anyway. So they've been married 30 years. But as you can imagine, the pressure starts to rise up, right? And they're looking at each other and they start blaming each other. And why didn't you do this? And we shouldn't have come here. I told you we shouldn't have come up here again, even though it's beautiful. And, they're getting close to World War III. Anyway, they're going along at their 10 miles an hour in the car. And then they see this farmer, this sheep farmer, wearing a cap like the one I am, just across. And they go, oh, thank you. He'll be able to show us, get us back on the road so we can get back to make that airport. So they drive up to him anyway, and they wind down the window. And they said, sorry, sir, we're trying to get back to Dublin to catch our flight home to Boston. Can you tell us the best way to go to get back on to the main route back, the main motorway back? So down in Kerry and that part of the country, they sing their accent. They sing a little bit in their accent. So he turns to them and he says, "Begorra now, if I were you, I wouldn't be starting from here." And the same applies to your plan, right? We want to avoid that in our business. We want to avoid a scenario that you end up in a place that you don't want to be. Because if you fail to plan, that's more likely to happen than if you do plan. And even if you take this year, and if you imagine it being a tidal wave that we couldn't predict, and you're out in your boat, and you're out at sea, and this tidal wave hits you, and carries you miles out to sea, you've no idea where you are again. You've one bottle of water, and that's going to last you a few hours, so you have to find landfall. My question is, would you prefer to be out there without a map and a compass? Or would you prefer to have a map and a compass? And that's what your plan is. It's a starting point to, if there is a tidal wave like the pandemic, that you have a starting point to start working towards to rebuild your business. To survive, rebuild, and thrive again. And when we started the think tank, that's what the think tank was all about. It was about helping everybody to survive, rebuild, and thrive again. And we're starting, all the signs are really, really good. We're starting now to see light at the end of the tunnel where we can defeat this virus, that we can defeat this war and start to rebuild and thrive again in our businesses. And some photographers have managed to do that already. Those who have a business plan. Those who have know exactly what they've been doing. And it's important that we all have that. And even if you have a plan, I'm hoping that there'll be some tips in here for you that will help you with that process. So why do we need a plan? So we've already discussed that it can be a foundation for when something hits us, and puts us where we don't want to be, that we have a starting point as to where to rebuild it. But even in normal times, it's important, right? So just like, you know, by looking at me that I love my cake. In fact, I absolutely adore my chocolate cake. But if I'm making this chocolate cake, if I try to do it without a recipe, it ain't going to turn out like that, right? If I try to do it with all the ingredients in the recipe where I don't follow the sequence and steps, it's likely not to turn out as I'd like. And certainly, if I'm missing an ingredient to bake that cake, it's probably not going to turn out the way I want. So just like baking the cake, you know, your plan is your total recipe, which includes all the ingredients. Then you've got to go and get the ingredients, put them all together, and follow the steps to build the perfect cake. And the same applies to business planning. The same applies that we need to go through a process of ensuring we have all the ingredients, the right ingredients, that we follow a process so that all the different pieces of jigsaw come together into a final plan that makes sense. But here's the problem. The problem is that a lot of plans never make sense. And I've been there, right? This is 1989, I started in business first. That's a long time ago. Wow, how time flies. But, you know, over the years, part of the business planning process that I went and everything we were taught, and every time we went to get a business loan for our company, you know, it was page after page after page after page after page, you know, and quite often we ended up creating something. Oh, I'll put it in front of me so you can see it, like this. Yeah, a big, thick document that was damn all use to anybody. The only reason for it was that the bank that I was preparing the business plan for wanted to, one, make sure I was serious, and two, cover their own butts, right? To be able to say to their bosses that, you know, we gathered all the information and all the financial projections make sense and they've done all their work and they seem to be on top of it and they know where they're going and they know what they're doing, right? But by the time you often put it together, it was useless for anything except that butt covering. It really wasn't practical on a day-to-day basis. And I struggled with this for a long time, so much so that I really struggled to put a plan in place that, one, made sense to me, two, make sense to everyone in our business, three, that it was actually actionable, that we could actually take action with it, and four, that it was clear and concise and a reference guide for me. Because that's all a plan can be, right? Just like this year has shown us, it can sort of only be the big picture and the big guideline, and the detail will be in the doing. The detail will be in the doing. But it has to be actionable too. So I read a book called Traction, which is absolutely amazing book. And in there, they mentioned the principle of a 2-page business success plan. But it's probably built, they might disagree, but I think it's built for sort of bigger businesses, bigger than businesses like ours, right? And because a lot of us, you know, were you know, 20 to 1. Yeah, we're solopreneurs and up to 20, 25 people. You know, that's sort of the scale. And a lot of our industry are solopreneurs or duopreneurs. Yeah. So that we need to have something that's relevant to them and not sort of the bigger business, because a lot of the communication that we have is with ourselves as solopreneurs, right? So, and then I'm a great believer in certain principles as it need to be built within this. So I basically took their idea of having a 2-page business success plan and I remodeled it to make sense for photographers. That's what I've done. In fact, it makes sense for any small solopreneur, duopreneur, even up to our business where we have 30 people. It makes sense for businesses in that scale. And I've been a strong believer for many, many years in key principles. And the key principles is that, you know, a plan put into place and taken action on is better than the perfect plan. So done is better than perfect, and always is. So this is designed to help you with that process. So even if you can't deep dive into all the minutiae of what we're going to do over the next an hour today, an hour on Thursday, just follow the key principles of these 2 pages. And I'll show you where you can get these a little later, totally for free. And a whole lot of other information, if you want to deep dive, that you can go into, and you can deep dive into certain aspects of it if that's what you want to do. So as part of this process, and this process I did design myself, the 3D circles of continuous business success. When I analyze my past experience in business, my past failures in business, what's worked for me, what hasn't, I've identified that I've sort of gone through this process when I'm successful. So the first stage is the discovery stage. So whether that's discovering your why or your purpose, discovering who your ideal client is, discovering what your budget for each booking, each person that experiences your experience in your studio has to be, what you can pay for a lead, all that discovery piece, that's a process we do. We've got to try and discover first, well, what are we trying to do? And quite often we do that through research, right? So we know we need to identify, say, our ideal client. We have to go do some research to understand who our ideal client is. We call them in BSA client gold. So who our client gold is, what do they look like? And we talk a little bit more about that. So we've got to do some research around that. And then we reach the second circle, which is decide, where we actually make a decision. So we actually make a decision. They are our client gold avatar. They're the clients we want in our studio. Or that's why I'm a photographer. That's my business purpose. Or these are my core values. We discuss that. And once we make those decisions, so we go through discovery, we do our research, we make some decisions, then we put that on our plan, and then it's ready to go on our plan. And the first page of our plan that we're going to talk about tonight, a lot of it is to do with the vision part, the marketing part, where you want to bring your business, all that good stuff. And that has a place in our plan. But we've also, as part of our plan, we've got to know if we're successful. And the best way we know to measure our success is with a number. Because there's an old adage and an old saying that what gets measured gets done. And the best way to measure is with a number. If you don't have a number, it's not a clear, concise, something that you can measure, well, then you cannot measure your success. But more importantly, you can't measure your failure, because you will learn, if you're like me, more from your failure than you will from your success. I've made every business mistake that's possible to make, I promise you. The only business mistake I haven't made is take on the wrong venture capitalist, because the only thing in business I haven't done is I've never brought venture capital into our business. But I've made every other single mistake, including merging a business with the wrong business. And the key foundational reason why that business failed was we didn't share core values with the business that we merged with. And we talk about it in a little bit. But I can do all that discovery, and I can make all that decisions, and I can put into a plan, I can quantify it. But if I do nothing with it, well, then it's wasted exercise. I might as well have just taken the time off, ate more cake, or gone to tour Kerry a bit more. Because if you don't do it, you're just wasting your time. And you wouldn't believe it. I've been there. I've done it in the past where I've spent money going to education exercises, or going to things, or going to conferences and learning loads and meeting people and having great fun and having a few beers, but doing nothing with the knowledge I gathered at it. You know, that's a massive mistake. You've got to do it, and you got to put what you learn into practice. Because your success not only involves the cool and exciting stuff, which can be the discovery and finding out new things and doing the research, and then, you know, then it gets a bit harder because you've actually to make some decisions, and then you got to put into a plan. And the hardest part for a lot of us is actually going and doing it, and quantifying it, and then measuring it, and then tweaking as we go to make it better from our learnings. And that's how you will create a successful business. And to be honest, you know, sometimes you got to decide, you know, are we in photography as a hobby, or are we in the business of photography? Yeah, you got to make that decision. I know it's a tough call, isn't it? Are you, because there's nothing wrong with being photography as a hobby, right? But photography as a hobby, you know, will be, you know, I know people who are photographers who do it as a hobby, and, you know, they try and raise some money and gain some money to fund their hobby. You know, they might do a couple of shoots a month for with all digitals for a certain price, just to pay for the new equipment they want. Yeah, that's photography as a hobby. That's not a business. And there's various ways along the journey to creating a sustainable, profitable business. And that's the challenge here. And it's not easy, and it is a journey, and you will fall off, and there is failure. But this is designed, what I've designed this whole process for, is to limit the amount of failure you have. And when you do have a failure, or you've got an unforeseen thing like the pandemic, as you've a starting point to survive, rebuild, and thrive again. Because it's important that we do as an industry. It's important that you as a photographer do. You know, you do a very important job as a photographer. You create a healthier society through photography. That's all proven in science. If you've seen me talk before, you know that. And unfortunately, I don't have time to delve deep into that tonight, but you know, it's vital. We have a really important job to do as an industry to repair a lot of the scars that the pandemic has brought. The pandemic has brought massive scars. The initial scars have been the health ones, you know, people getting really sick and needing a lot of help from our healthcare to survive it, you know, and unfortunately many haven't. But there's other scars, there's relationship scars, there's psychological scars, there's mental health scars, you know, and we play a really important role in the work we do as photographers to use our work to make people feel empowered, to use our work where people have a higher self-esteem, to use our work to capture those important relationships that people have in our communities. And that creates a healthier society in mind, body, and spirit. All proven in science. Okay. So let's talk about this first page in the business success plan first, right? So this first page is designed across 3 key elements. The first 3 elements are around the 3 circles of you. The second 3 then are with a client focus. And it's about your client goal 3 marketing pillars. And we have 3 elements to that. And then the final piece of this is about quantifying. Taking 1 and 2 and quantifying it so that you can easily measure your progress as you work through the year. And this will be available to you for a free download as well. And we'll get you that at the very end. We'll show you where you get that. Okay, so let's just deep dive into these a little bit just to understand them a bit more. So the first thing you'll notice is these key areas are captured on 1 page, right? And the reason why they're captured on 1 page is when you fill it out and they're editable PDFs, or you can print them out and just write in them, whichever you prefer, it sits over your desk. And this is what we call the Achieve Your Dreams or the vision page. That's what it is. It's a page that you will create for your business plan next year for 2021. You create it now, so you kickstart January with your new plan, and it's a reference point for everything you do in your business. Yes, you heard me right. It's a reference point for everything you do in your business. What do I mean? Well, the 3 marketing pillars will help you inform every piece of marketing that you do, where you do it, who you do it to, and how you create the language and the messaging that connects with your ideal client goal, with your client goal avatar. That's what that will do. It'll be a reference point for that. The numbers will look at not only your financial numbers in relation to starting with what you want to earn from your business, and that figure can be anything. It can be $1 million or it can be 1,000. Ignore the numbers that I have here. They're just some random sample numbers. But I always start using profit first principles, starting with what you want to earn from your business, what you want to earn as a business owner, and then use profit first principles to work that back into what the turnover of your business needs to be. And use that principle then to calculate, so how many sessions are you going to use, and then work out your yearly marketing targets. And we'll talk about that in a few moments. And on Thursday, I have some calculators to deep dive into that ask you initially 6 questions and calculate all that automatically for you. And then brings you to your marketing calculator, where we ask 3 further questions, and those 2 calculators are linked. And to calculate exactly out for you how many leads you need in your business to deliver you the owner's pay you want. It'll calculate out for you what you should budget for a booking. So for somebody who sits in front of your camera, what's the max you can pay for that based on your numbers? It'll calculate out for you what your guide for a cost per lead has to be for any marketing activity, whether that's online or offline. It'll calculate all that out for you. So you've got these numbers to measure as you go forward. And then, of course, you will have other sort of yearly desires or goals, a desire being a goal, yearly desire goal for your business that you would like to achieve in the coming year, whatever they may be. Yeah. So this is not a fully completed one. This is just a sample of the different elements. But tonight I want to focus on a couple of things. I want to focus on the 3 circles of view, and we're going to sort of go into the first pillar on the marketing. And then on Thursday, we're going to go through the other 2 pillars: client goal avatar, client goal elevator pitch, and then the calculators to calculate all the numbers that fill out the other side of the 2-page business success plan. Just so this is the vision page. So there is a second page, and the second page is about the do it page. So I had it here. So the do it page, this is one that you change every quarter, and it summarizes for you out the the key marketing desire goal for the quarter, the key financial goal for the quarter, and then some other essential goal or desire you have for your business in the quarter. And this page here changes every single quarter or every 12 weeks. And there's a great book out there called The 12-Week Year. It was given to me, in fact, at Imaging this year by David and Whitney Scott as a present. And it's a really good book because it uses the mindset. Because the biggest problem I see when I talk to a lot of business owners, whether they're photographers or not, is actually the mindset. The biggest problem is up here, nowhere else. It's here. And the mindset regards business planning, and what these people discovered, these really clever people discovered, that the mindset of the year and the human, it sort of works around the principle that, you know, when you get to May and you're behind on your goals and you say, oh no, I've still time to make it up before the year end. You know, and you ask yourself the question then, is that why we're always running around like headless chickens in October, November, and December, trying to finish everything out to make the year good, or to recover anything that's happened before? In a normal year, not in the year of pandemic, because we've all had to do that this year. But in the normal year, is that the reason? And the psychology behind the 12-week year is that you imagine each quarter as a full year. So it's the plan. What am I going to get done for this quarter, this year, this 12-week year? What am I going to get done? And make sure I get it done. And that's why we call this the 12-week year. So this changes every single quarter. So once a year, you revisit your vision page. And then every quarter, this page changes. And these pages sit underneath each other. The vision page on top and the other page underneath. And then every quarter, then you revisit where you are and you swap out this second page for a second do it page. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so let's come back to this page then, which is, sorry, that's the end slide. Come back to here. And let's just talk. I'm going to stop the share for a moment. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a little exercise. So we're going to concentrate on the 3 circles of view first. And why I concentrate on the 3 circles of view is I firmly believe from the research I've done and my experiences more so, that you cannot connect or even identify with your ideal client until you truly know yourself. You have to start with you, the 3 circles of view. You've got to know what makes you tick. You've got to know why you're a photographer. You got to know what your values are, and you got to know where you want to take your business. And these 3 circles of view are based all around those. So what I want you to do to start is I want you to close your eyes. So do this with me. Close your eyes, okay? And hopefully you've got a pen and paper with you. So if you haven't got a pen and paper, quick, grab a piece of pen and paper before you close your eyes. Open your eyes so you don't crash into anything. Yeah. So open your eyes, get some pen and paper. Yeah. If you haven't, just make sure you've got your mobile phone with your notes open, right? And now I want you to close your eyes. Okay. So your eyes are now closed. And I want you to imagine you're going out to our 3XM Business Success Academy time machine. And we're opening the door of the time machine, and you're getting into the time machine, and you hear the door closing behind you, and you're going to sit in now and you're going to belt up, because we're going forward in time. We're going forward in time to 5 years' time. Okay, crash, bollop. That wasn't really a great. SpaceX wouldn't be impressed with that, but we've landed. We've landed in the future. It is now December 2025. Keep your eyes closed. But I want you to keep your eyes closed and get out of the time machine with me. and you've landed back in your community and you're looking around. They can't see you because you've traveled in time, but you can see it. So I want you to describe for me your home, your current home. So visualize your current home that you're in now. It's 5 years' time. Visualize what that looks like. Walk up to the front door. Have a look at the car you're driving. Okay. Open the front door, go into your home. It may be a different home than you currently have, or maybe you've just done up the home, but visualize it. Okay. Have a look on the wall and have a look at all the holiday snaps. How many holidays did you take this year? Go and have a look. Look at the pictures. Visualize them. Was it 1 holiday or 2 holidays or 3 holidays? Whatever it was, it doesn't matter. Your number's unique to you. And just see the pictures that reflect those holidays you took. Okay, then I want you to come back out the front door and I want you to think about the current business leaders in your community. And then I want you to walk down the street and I want you to be conscious of other people looking at you who live in your community. And I want you to imagine what they're saying about you and why you're also a business leader in your community. What has made you a business leader in your community? Just picture it as they see, and you see somebody down the road tapping the person beside them on the shoulder and say, that's so-and-so. Yeah. And now I want you to either come back to your home, if that's where your studio is, or I want you to go to your studio, to your business, and I want you to visualize the studio, and I want you to walk in the front door of the studio or into your home studio, if that's where it is, and just have a look around it. And just visualize what you see. Okay. So now I want you to turn around, and right beside you, just there, is the 3XM Business Success Academy time machine. I want you to get back into the time machine. I want you to close the door. I want you to crash, brash, wallop, or back, wake up, open your eyes, and you're now ready to fill out your BHAGs. BHAG stands for Big, Hairy, Audacious Goals. So what you've done there is you've come with me on a journey into the future to visualize what your life is going to be like in December 2025. And why we went forward in time and we visualize it in the present is the psychologists have proven to us that as humans, if we can visualize something as being there now, it's more easily attainable. And that's why we've done that. So you're now ready to fill this out, right? So the whole area of the circle of the BHAGs, the Big, Hairy, Audacious Goals, this is the vision piece, is to where do you want to be in 5 years' time? So you'll be able to fill this out, again, right in the present. I now live, and you fill in where that is. So that might be a new home. It might be your existing home. There may be changes made to whatever that is. That's okay. Fill that in. My business is, and where's your business? So in this example, we just have, I live in my house in Clane. That is amazing. So it's all been done up. It's exactly as I want it to be. Yeah. That might be a new home for you. It might be that, whatever that is, and you've moved to a bigger home, or you've downsized to a smaller home, but it's perfect for you. It's where you want to be in 5 years. Then I want you to talk about your business. So in this example, in the business, it's me and my wife in our home studio. Yeah. Amazing. That may be for you. I now have 10 branches to my studios, and I'm in every major town in my county. Yeah. It doesn't matter, because everyone's vision for what they want to achieve in their business is unique to them. And that's why every business is different. But whatever that is, just write it down now. So what you visualized, what you saw, okay, and for your home and your holidays, yeah? So like your holidays, and the idea of that was to give you some idea as to what your cost of living is going to be for this vision you have for your life in 5 years' time. And that's when we put a figure on it. So this is the first figure we actually do when we introduce it, even at this stage of the vision planning, is think about the amount of money you earn currently from your business. We call it owner's pay and profit first. And then turn that into a figure that you believe you will need in 5 years' time to afford the life you just saw, from your home basis, the number of holidays you take, the car you drove. Do you remember you looked at the car you drove? All those things. How much is that? How much are you likely to need to earn in 5 years' time to deliver you that? And write down that number. And yes, it's a best guess, yeah, but you'll be able to see what you are at the moment, what you can afford currently from what the business pays you, and what your vision for that is in 5 years' time. And then the final page of this then is, do you remember when you were walking down the street and you noticed people noticing you? In fact, somebody touched somebody else that they were on the shoulder and pointed you out and described who you were. So what did they say? Why do they regard you as a leader, a business leader in your community, as the photographic studio to go to for whatever you do, or for some other reason? Whatever that is, just write that down. Yeah. Because that will be a vision of, what you're going to do. That this will inform even your marketing and where you're going to hang out and what you're going to do, and you're going to do charity work or not, and how you're going to do it and stuff like that. So what was that? Okay. So the second circle of view then, so now when you've got the first one done, you'll be able to fill that in because we've just gone through the exercise. And again, you can do this again if you want. You can spend some time doing this process again. I'm not on my phone, I'm just checking the time. So I make sure I stay on time. Okay, so the second stage then is your why and purpose. And why is this important? So for those of you who haven't seen Simon Sinek, you need to see Simon Sinek. So just Google, not now, but afterwards, Google TED Talks, Simon Sinek, SIMON SINEK. And you'll see a video that was recorded, believe it or not, in 2009, where Simon Sinek explains that people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. That's really important concept to understand. They don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And he explains his golden circle with the why at the center, then how you do it and what you do. And he explains that most businesses communicate with what they do first, and then they'll explain how they do it, but they'll never be able to explain why they do it. But he explains how great businesses, big and small, and he gives some great examples of where this plays true. But one of the great businesses that he gives an example is Apple. They always communicate with their why. They don't communicate with what they do, they communicate with why they do, and that's how they connect with their ideal client. It's also important to understand, why you're a photographer and what's the greater purpose. And this is where your why and your purpose start to connect. So it's important to understand you as a person as to, why are you a photographer? Why have you become a photographer? What difference do you make? Who do you make this difference for? Yeah, whose life do you make better? And then how does that contribute to a better society overall? And then finally, how do you know that it does? So this process walks you through that. So it simply starts with the simple phrase, I am a what? Because you might be a newborn photographer, you might be a wedding photographer, you might be a family portrait photographer, you may be a glamour makeover magazine style photographer, you can, whatever that is. So talk with that. I am a newborn photographer. I have an example here because the work I do makes the lives of who? So the new mothers, the new mums, and mums to be is the difference at this newborn photographer. Because, what do they do? So how do you transform your client? And how is your client transformed by interacting with your experience in your service? Yeah. So you fill that out. And then you go and you say, this is the reason why. This is the reason why it makes a difference. And this is the difference it makes to our communities at large as a photographer. What does that difference be? And how do you know that that's a difference? Now, I want you at this stage to just fill this out with your best hunch, because this takes time. To discover your true why takes time. Seriously, it can take you years to discover your why. And a lot of people go through their whole life without discovering their why, right? But it's important to grab something on paper as to what's your why. And once you do that, it sort of plants it in your subconscious. And over time, other things that you do will start to inform that why. So let me give you a little story. At one stage, I thought my goal in life was to create a really large business employing thousands and thousands of people and everything that came with that. And at the age of 32, I was so stressed. One day I was taken into hospital with my blood pressure 200 over 150. So I was in stroke territory. And I was put on blood pressure tablets. And I was in a bad place. And I had previously merged our business with another business that I'll talk about in a few moments when we get to core values. And we put the two businesses together, and it was the biggest mistake I ever made. It made sense from our capabilities. It made sense that we didn't share any clients. It made sense that we could cross-sell what we both did to each other's client base. It made sense from so many points of view, but it nearly cost me my life with a stroke. Or not my life, put me in a place that nobody wants to be. And I was chasing, when I look back, I was chasing not what I wanted to do, but what I believed other people wanted me to achieve. I was chasing a dream, someone else's, not even their dream for me, but what I thought might be their dream for me. That makes sense. And I was wrong on both counts. And I was also wrong on, the real reason why I'm here. So like, I'm bad at a whole lot of things, but what I half good at is helping people succeed. And I'm an avid learner. I believe in lifelong learning. I believe in sharing that knowledge, and I love to help people. I've always loved helping people. Like in when my kids were, Jonathan's 27 now, my eldest, but when he was 4 or 5, I went and learned to be a tennis coach, just because I wanted him to learn the right skills as tennis, because I love tennis, he loved tennis, our whole family then took up tennis. But with being a coach, I just loved doing that. And then the tennis club started asking me to do some coaching of other kids, and I love that, helping people to succeed. And that's come to my why today. And, I've discovered my personal purpose. I know what that is. And I know through life experience, the difference that photography makes. I know from life experience with one of our daughters who went through a really hard time, and thank God she's still with us today, but there was a chance that she might not be with us at one stage. And it's a time I never want to revisit. But, the difference that photography makes to people, to even young people, and the research is there to show about how it empowers them. It gives them a greater sense of belonging in the family when they see photographic art with them in it. It gives them a greater self-esteem. And my gosh, do our young people need that today, with all the influence that social media has on them and the pressure it puts on them. We've a really important job to do there. So I can't take even a selfie. I can't even take a selfie. So my personal purpose has linked to my business purpose, and yours will too. You'll find that they're closely linked as a small business owner. And my purpose is that I can't take a selfie, so I can't make people healthier in mind, body, and spirit through photography. But what I can do is I can help photographers to master the business of photography. And in so doing, by mastering the business of photography, more photographic art will be experienced by more communities and more people who will be healthier in mind, body, and spirit as a result. And that's my mission. And that's why I'm here today. And that's why we're talking now. So that's my why, that's my purpose, and that's how it links to my personal why, or my personal purpose is I don't want any other parent or young person to experience and go through what my wife, family, and my daughter, more importantly, went through, and her siblings. Now, we're lucky that we were one of the lucky ones where she's still with us today, and she's a wonderful young woman now, and she knows exactly what she's doing. But by gosh, she had a really hard time in those teenage years. So I know the difference photography makes to people who are in that instance, that sense of belonging, and how that helps them through those times when they're like that. And that's why you've got a really important job to do as a photographer, one of the reasons. And I will move heaven and earth as much as I can to help you be more successful in business, knowing that that's going to influence and impact more people. So you've got to discover your why for your business. And these lines are designed just to help inform that, but it'll take time and it'll take experience to actually fill that out properly. But that shouldn't stop you from starting a first draft. Yeah, I started with a first draft where I believe my why was, and I was tweaked and tweaked and tweaked till I got it to where it is today. Yeah, but it changed my life. When I discovered my why, I just felt this enormous pressure lifting off my shoulders. I felt free. I felt free that I finally discovered why I'm here and the difference I can really make. And that's the challenge for you. And the third circle of you is your core values. This is really important concept to understand, because a lot of people misunderstand what branding means. They think it's their new website, their colors, the color of folio box they sell, the album covers on it. And yes, they can be elements of it. They think it's their logo. They think it's all these things. And yes, they are icons of their brand. But your brand comes from your values. Your brand starts there. And it's nearly impossible to create a brand that's true and lasts the sense of time unless you know what your values are. And the psychologists have proven, that a human is like an onion. The outer layer of the onion is how we behave, and that's the bit people see most. The next layer in is our skills and our knowledge. Yeah, and we can gain skills and knowledge over time. But that takes longer than our behavior, because our behavior can change pretty quickly, right? The next layer in then is our attitudes. It's our attitudes. But our attitudes come from our values, and that's the next layer in. And the final core of the onion is your core ability that you're born with and your personality. And that's why I encourage everyone to do their personality type. In fact, it's not part of this here, but if you haven't done your personality type yet, you can do it for free on 16personalities.com. That's 16personalities.com. Don't do it now, write it down, but do it. And if you do nothing else, just answer the questions. There's no one personality better than the other, but there's 16 different personality types. And by doing that, and if you read the strengths and weaknesses, it'll be an aha moment for you. When you read the strengths and weaknesses, you go, that's why I love doing that. That's why I hate doing that. But what it allows you to do is, for the stuff you don't like, your weaknesses, it allows you to build strategies around dealing with that. And even just being constantly aware of it will make you better. And your strengths then is about taking those strengths and amplifying them as best you can. Use those strengths and amplify those strengths, and it'll help you enormously. But back to your core value statements. What you will end up with, and at the end of this, to help you with this, right, because this can be difficult to achieve and to figure it out, the best place to start is with a word search. So I'm going to share with you at the end of this where you can find the word search to do, which basically walks you through a process of identifying the words that fully connect with you. And once you go through that process, and then you have a look at the words that don't connect with you, yeah, and then you look at the words that aren't you yet, but you would like those words to reflect you. And when you go through that word search, it will help you then. The words that are you will inform your core value statements. So when we went through this in our business, we ended up with wow our clients. Now, a lot of businesses say, yeah, we want to wow our clients, and that's what we do. But that is absolutely at the center core value of everything we do in our businesses, is to wow our clients. Everything we do is to wow our clients. And like even our organizational chart, the organizational charts where you see in some business, and there's the CEO at the top, and then you have the next level of management, and you have the next, at the top of ours is our clients. Even Jeff Bezos and Amazon, and there's a lot wrong with Amazon, but there's a lot good with Amazon. But Jeff Bezos and his management team at his meetings, they have an empty chair. And when they're strategizing about what they should do and how should they do, they turn to the chair and they visualize their client there, and they ask the client, so what do you think? Because Amazon realize that it's about their clients. If their clients aren't happy and successful, that it comes from that. But you got to do everything you can to wow your clients. And everyone in our business, we're a small business, 30 people, but everyone in our business knows that I don't pay the wages as the business owner or the CEO, that it's the client who pays the wages. And they, in fairness to them, that is within our culture. So your culture comes from your core values in your business. Even if you're a solopreneur, you have a culture, and it's important to know what it is and where it comes from. Our second core value then in our business is family feel, because we're a family business, through teamwork, integrity, trust, diversity. They are key ones. That's what we do. Everything is, so the humility, where does that come? That comes into a saying that we have in our business, that success equals IQ minus ego plus hard work. It informs everything that we do. But we're a family business, so we've 30 in our business. 7 of us are all blood relatives. That can have its advantages, it can have its disadvantages, but we try and get that family feeling. We regard our clients as part of our family. And the final one that we have then is always fair, but tough when needed. So what does that mean? Always fair, but tough when needed. What it means is that in every interaction we have with each other, every interaction we have with somebody as a manager or as somebody who isn't our manager, that we're talking to our manager, that we will always be fair with everybody. We'll always be fair, but we'll be tough when needed. So what do we mean by tough when needed? Well, what it means is that when we've gone through the fair piece, every now and again, there'll be somebody who joins our organization, they get through our systems, and we take on somebody who doesn't align with our values. So we will go through a stage just to, just reaffirm that we did make a mistake and they don't align with our values. But then we realize that they don't. Then we sit down and we be fair and we say, look, it's not your fault, it's ours, genuinely. We have systems in our interview process to determine whether your values align with ours. And for some reason, they didn't work in this instance. And we don't believe that this company is right for you and that you're not right for this company. So we think it's better that you don't work here anymore. But we want to be fair. So you're only with us 2 months or 6 weeks. So here's a month's salary to give you time to find another job. Yeah. So that's being tough, but as fair as we possibly can. That's how we would approach that scenario. So that's, and now and again, do we always follow our values? No. My people now and again say, Ronan, you're not aligned with our values and what you've just done there. And I read the value and say, no, you're right. You're right. I'm wrong on that. I'm not aligned with our values. I'm sorry. I apologize. And I will do everything possible to make sure that I don't do that again and that all my actions align with our values. So that's your core value statements. So that's the 3 circles of you. So now you have your BHAGs and a vision of where you want to take your business in 5 years' time, and you've visualized it and you've recorded it. You've started the process of discovering your why and your purpose, and you've started to fill that out. And then you will go through a stage of creating your core value statements. And unfortunately, we don't have the time to do all that now, but I'm going to share with you some of the tools that will help you through that. And you may be in the position where you've already done that and you already have that. Great. Well, now you have them all in one location that can, on the printout, that can sit over your desk. And you can reference everything and they will inform everything. So now we switch the focus from you to your client. And we start with the 3 pillars of marketing. And the idea of the 3 pillars of marketing is that you have a reference point for all the marketing you do. So you have a reference point when you are writing a marketing email, a blog, you're building an online marketing funnel, no matter what it is, that you have a reference point to say, so what I've just created there, does it align with my 3 brand pillars? So it's a reference point. It'll inform everything. It'll inform all the interactions you have with your client, and it will just help you. And the 3 pillars are what we call your client goal, brand positioning statement, and value pyramid. And that's the one we're going to talk about in a moment. On Thursday, we're going to talk about your client goal avatar. We're going to talk about your client goal elevator pitch. And then we're going to complete all this numbers piece with the calculators. So it's a reference starting point. So let's just talk about client brand positioning statement and value pyramid. So where does that come from? So the brand positioning statements come from a guy called Nick Westergaard. He wrote a book called Brand Now. And it's a really clever idea. And it's the idea of, we as small business owners are also clients of other businesses, right? Yeah, that's obvious, Ronan. So what? Well, being clients of other businesses, there's certain businesses that we say, we love that company. We love that company. We love those people. We love that brand. We love everything about them, right? They just understand me. We connect. They are just ideal for us. So what the idea of the brand positioning statement, and I want you to write this down now, is when I ask you which brand you interact with that you absolutely connect with more than others, what is it? And just write it down. So in our business, it's Apple. Yeah. And yours can be anyone. This photographer, this example here, they chose Burberry. I don't mind what it is, but just write it down. What brand name, what brand do you absolutely connect with? And we'll talk about how that informs what you do and your decisions in a moment. But I just want you to write it down for a moment. So when you write it down, then you can fill it in on this one page business success plan, the achieve your dreams page, the first page when you get this PDF to download. So then the next concept I want you to think about is we're all in competition, right? And we all want to have as little competition as possible. And we all want to position our business that our ideal clients connect with it. But an important consideration here is what we call the value pyramid. So what's the value pyramid? So the value pyramid is another reference guide for a lot of what you do. And typically there's only 3 value pyramids. One is you're going to compete on price. One is you're going to compete on convenience. And one is you're going to compete on quality. They're pretty much the 3 value pyramids. And yes, there can be different levels within the price one and the convenience and the quality one, but you're going to major on one of them. And the very best business in the world will major on one of them and pull one of those other 2 into what they do as well. But for this purpose, I want you to concentrate on just the one. And just to explain just what do they mean. So let's imagine that you want to treat the family to burgers and French fries. Okay. So if you're going to make that decision on price, you're going to go to Walmart's and Tesco, and you're going to buy your mincemeat and your onions and your bundies and your potatoes, and you're going to come home and you're going to prep the food and you're going to cut the potatoes and you're going to make the French fries, and you're going to feed a family of 6 for $15. Yeah, max. Let's just say $15. Pick a figure. Yeah. So that way, my treat was based around price. Now, if you're Tesco or Walmart, as a supermarket, you got to sell a lot of stuff, right, to make money. So often what goes with price is volume. So if you're going to compete on price, you got to do way more volume than if you compete on quality to make money. Yeah. So then the second one is convenience. So I'm sitting there and I want to treat my family to burgers and French fries. What's really convenient for me is to go to the drive-thru in McDonald's because I can pull up in my car. I can give them the order. I know I'm going to get the food hot. It's going to come out to me. It's going to cost me $25 to feed all 6 of us. It's more than if I do it myself, but it's really convenient. It's easy. I have no cleanup, washing up, no preparation time. And we've time to go straight to the cinema because it's right beside the McDonald's drive-thru. Yeah, that's convenience. Because a lot of people think McDonald's compete on quality. They don't. They compete on convenience. That's their number one. Yes, they try and bring quality to everything they do, but the value pyramid they're actually competing on is convenience for their client. And then the third one is quality. So I don't know if this burger chain is everywhere, but when I describe what they do, you'll know. So gourmet burger, I go in there, it's Angus beef. I can pick 3 different type of Bundy types. I can build my own burger with 20 choices from 20 different toppings. It's waiter and waitress service. So someone comes and serves me. The food's brought to me, drinks. It's a nice environment. There's music playing. It's not a Michelin star, but it doesn't need to be because it's a family treat for burgers and French fries. So they're competing on the quality pyramid within what they offer. So what I want you to do now is to complete your client goal brand positioning statement and value pyramid. And you're going to start with whatever brand you wrote. You're going to say, we are in this case, the Burberry of the newborn photography industry. And we are competing on the quality, luxury, value pyramid. So where did the word luxury come from? So I mentioned that there was a scale within each one, right? And Burberry are at the top end of luxury quality. They're not just quality, they're the luxury end of it, right? So this photographer chose to put in quality luxury as part of their description, just to reinforce that. So why is this helpful then? So why is this helpful is it'll inform everything you do. So let me give you an example for us in our business, and then I'll give you another example as well. So in our business, when we discovered this and we said we are the Apple, it changed our whole focus on product development. Among a whole of other things, it changed our focus on a whole of other things. But if I just take the product development, we were prior to that the old Microsoft. When I say that, Microsoft used to have a reputation. They've changed massively, right? But they used to have a reputation of, we'll build a software, we'll put it out to market, we think it's quite good, and where our clients will give us the feedback as to what we need to improve, and we'll make the changes and issue the new releases of the fixes. Yeah. While Apple, even when they wrote software with their stuff, often they missed the delivery date because Steve Jobs, one of my heroes, would just turn around and say, no, it's not right. I'm not happy yet. We're not launching. We're missing the launch date. Yeah. And that happened to us. We changed from, we would think it was as really, really good, but we changed our systems to say, no, it can't be really, really good. We have to get it as perfect as we possibly can before we launch. So it changed our whole systems into developing further testing to test that over time before we release. And that means that we're quite often now late with our release dates and what we initially planned. Well, before it was always, no, get out there in the market. We need to get out into the market, and our clients will tell us what's wrong and what we need to fix. That still happens today, and it still happens to Apple, right? To get client feedback, because you don't get everything perfect, but we make it as perfect, and we do as much testing as we possibly can to make sure it's as perfect as more perfect than it might have been if we didn't have that idea. And the other thing that allows you to do then is you sign up to that brand for all of their newsletters, all their marketing, you follow them on social media, you get all their emails, you look at their websites, you look at the language they use, you look at their TV ads, you look at everything, because they're spending billions in many cases on their marketing. And you can learn from that. It's about learning from the big brands as to how they do it, but it gives you a focus on where to look. Because often we're confused. We see something new shiny over there, and we think it's us, and it's not us at all. So we look at Apple, and even when we have a problem in our business, we say, what would Apple do in this scenario? How would Apple do this? So you wouldn't have seen any Black Friday deals from our business this year, have you? No, because Apple don't do Black Friday, and neither do we. It's not our brand. It's not us. It's not what we're about. If you want a deal, we're not for you. We're not for you, because the products we make are not about deals. They're about delivering value to your clients as a photographer, and superior value through the art you create and how you present that art. That's what we're about. And that's why we don't engage in that. We did years ago when we were Microsoft. We didn't know we were a Microsoft until we discovered all this, So that's how important it is. It'll inform everything you do. It'll inform everything you do. And then you got to know what you're competing on. So we are competing on the quality pyramid in our business. So you need to discover the same for you. And there's none of, competing on the quality pyramid is not better than the price pyramid. Yeah. It's all about business, creating a business from it. No, one is not better than the other. It's just that you are clear as to what you're doing, so that you can then create marketing and that connects with your ideal client goal avatar. I'm going to talk about that on Thursday. So let me just go and stop the share and see if we have any questions before we call it a wrap. Have we any questions? No questions. Okay, so maybe you're keeping all your questions till later. So what I want to share with you is, so we have a group called BSA Mastermind that's free to join. And in there, I've created a whole load of content, because I have a whole lot of photographers working through a process at the moment over the last 7 weeks. We're now in week 5. But we've recorded all that content, and we've recorded all the files that will help you to fill out your own business success plan. Yeah, and there's other videos there if you want to deep dive into any of the concept a little bit more. So let me copy that here. It's free to join the group. Just there's the link. So click on that link now and just sign up to BSA Mastermind. It's totally free. And when you go in there, the units tab The units tab on the left is where you will see all the videos that are recorded. And you will also, in the files, you will see all the files that we've done. So there's all the files in there. And it's never too late to join us. So we're literally, we're working as a team of photographers. We different people join us at different stages. But we're on week 5 now, where every single day we're doing something. So tomorrow we're doing website reviews with the team. On Thursday, we're actually deep diving into generating your ideal client goals with offline marketing activity. Today, we're looking at online and marketing funnels and stuff like that. So do join us. We'd love to see you in there. It's never too late to join. You can catch up because this is a journey, right? It's a process, and this is designed just to help you to fast track your success, to make next year the best year in business you have. And together, we amplify the creation of a healthier society through photography. So that's it for today. Stay safe, stay healthy, everybody. Hopefully you can join us again on Thursday. And whether you join us again on Thursday or not, do join the group, come in, say hello, engage with the content. You'll see all the video recordings and all the workbooks. And you can, so when you're doing your core value statements, you'll see that as a module. It's one of the units in there. So you can deep dive into there and download those word quizzes to help you with that process. So bye for now. Stay safe, stay healthy. And we'll see you all again on Thursday, hopefully. And stay safe, stay healthy. Bye.